ignored my warning, and instead of heeding to the things I said, you gave me hell. But instead of getting better, we deeper in the mire. Now the whole ship going under, and all across the country, the people unhappy, and they crying, things not going well. Things not going well. Things not going well. Things not going well. And nobody has to tell you that what I say is true, because it ain't only me. And you're feeling it too. There's hardly anybody in this land not getting hell, because things not going well. It's easy to tell, things not going well.
To the Lord, to the Lord.
Kaisoma. Serious song. The crime situation in this federation shows things really not going well. Murders escalating, the body count rising, the country going through hell. It is clear that what we're doing simply is not working. Meanwhile, another family is in mourning. While some blame the police for the obvious increase, for me, it's they crying, things not going, things not going well, things not going well. And nobody has to tell you that what I say is true, because it ain't only me. You feeling it too. There's hardly anybody in this land not getting hell, because things not going well. It's easy to tell, things not going well. Yes, things tight. We know they're good. Good friend Martinez, Holy Faith. Come on. In the business sector, things not getting better. Small business owners going through real hell. It's like we're forgetting that they are the engine, and when they strike, the country does well. As we look to build a future where everyone does better, we need a very strong small business sector. We have no other option trying to save this nation but to join hands and work in unison. And we sing, things not going well. Things not going well. Things not going well. Things not going well. And nobody has to tell you now what I say is true, because it ain't only me. Me friend men feeling it too. There's hardly anybody in this land not getting hell, because things not going well. It's easy to tell, things not going well.
To the Lord, to the Lord.
Hi, so man. This one is for the leaders. All them thin skin leaders. Come on, from number 3, you better listen. you listening to all the complaining that things in this country not going well? The masses are crying, have a hard time coping, while some behaving like their heads swell. Some of your recent behavior leave much to be desired, like trifling with the media. You better take stock quickly and face reality. But don't test, don't mess with our democracy. And they crying, things not going well. Oh, things not going well. Things not going well. Things not going well. And nobody has to tell you that what I say is true, because it ain't only me, I'm gonna keep feeling it too. There's hardly anybody in this land not catching hell, because things not going well. It's easy to tell, things not going well.
Share the love, share the love.
Things not going well. Yes, what happened to the water problem, man? Things not going well. What about the roads up in Monkey Hill? On the road? Things not going well. What going on with the Boston High School, sir? What going on? Things not going well. The people say they want a double salary, man. Things not going well. That's about the Kim Collins Stadium. What going on there? Things not going well. Lord, the food prices so high, they're killing us, man. Things not going well. Yeah, what about them 2,000 houses you promised the people, man? Things not going well. Where is our CBI money? Things not going well. The crime rate getting out of hand again, man. Things not going well. Where is the help for the small businesses? Things not going well. Electricity killing the small business people, things man. Things not going well. Oh, the farmers falling. Things not going well. Prime Minister,
Things not
to
going
you.
well.
People, I'm not being no advisor, but Lord, listen to me, man. Listen to me. Come on, you could do better than that, Dr. Drew.
Things not going
Yes, man,
well.
we're not a good. Things not
Things not going well. Things not going well. Things not going well.
Yes, Sons of the Man Big Lies. He said things not going well. I'm DJ Mauricio, and I'm coming to you live and direct from my bunker here in the Republic of St. Paul, St. Kitts. Yes, I'm still here in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, and we're going to have a very, very interesting conversation this evening, because from all aspects of the people complaints, things really not going well, and we're going to have a few chit-chats about what the people is saying. So, my good folks, for those of you who might be just scrolling through the web and running to us and wondering what this program is all about, let's take a quick listen of the DJ Mauricio clip.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauricio's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Mauricio, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right. DJ Mauricio is here every Wednesday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this is how we do it. Let me try and find out of my boy, Brother Carbo, across the waters there, over there in the good old island of Nevis. Let me hear boy Carbo have to tell us this evening.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Punji and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over.
Come on.
Food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, Cabo have the food all over Nevis Day, but don't forget right down here in Sugar City St. Kitts, Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers have her food as well.
Girl, Sandra, you know where you can find nice, fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
You got that right. And Carmen asks that I tell her customers thank you for their support over the past months, especially you folks that comes down to the Boyd's area every Sunday from 12 noon to 5 p.m. She appreciates all of your support. Sundays, she has sold out. Your churchgoers and everyone that come and support Carmen, thanks. And like I said, whenever you visit Cabo or Carmen, just let them know DJ Marisha sent you, and they will definitely take care of you well. Let's take a quick listen of what my boy, brother Malvin Gums of the Spectrum Band here in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands have to say.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're listening to DJ Marisha, playing you the best in Caribbean music.
You got that?
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're locked into DJ Marisha. Keep it locked.
Right there. And you don't touch that dial because, you know, I just stop a trap there by my boy, the Big Lice. Said things not going well. And, you know, is the people saying this thing, you know, it's not Big Lice. So I want you guys, when you all want to beat up on the lice, you all really have to think seriously. This government that is in power, the government of the day that is in power, the Labour administration, they are in power because of the people's frustration, you know. The Team Unity administration got their second term of election back in 2020. And election was constitutionally due in 2025. But because of all the nonsense that was going on, we call it corruption after corruption after corruption, the people woke up and decided it's time to go. So we put pressure on them. They fight amongst themselves, carry on with all kind of things, and in less than 2 years into their second term, they fall apart. That is the reason why today there is a new Labour administration. But this podcast that has just passed 4 years and the 8th of November has been consistent over the years in bringing the real deal, the facts, the message to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And by default, the Labour administration benefited from that. You know, big praise from the candidates who was running for Labour back then, you know. Big up to me, they said, big up. But today, as I look on, I was in observation mode for some 2 years, and I decided now it's time to kick into gears and ask some questions, because there are certain things that I am seeing that mimic the past administration. So questions have to be asked. And some of these so-called supporters of Labour who was not even out there in the trenches, like the DJ campaigning, want to tell the DJ to shut up. Don't ask certain questions. What questions must I ask? Questions have to be asked because it appears as though Short was correct when he sing that song, when they got power and authority, they don't give a damn about you or me. You know? Some of them don't have to say anything, you just have to look at their actions and you would know that they don't care about you. And some of them verbalize it that they don't care. So my good people, this evening, I am coming to you with a heavy heart. Very heavy, heavy, heavy heart. Because there are some things going on in our beloved federation that I have some issues with. Some serious, serious issues with. Let me put it out there. First and foremost, I think everybody know that I support Prime Minister Joe. I will stand behind the Prime Minister. I was one who helped got him into the leadership of the Labour Party, and by extension, I was one to ensure a successful Labour administration. So I think I have the right to steer the Prime Minister and his team on the right path if I see that they're trying to drift on the wrong side. And as I said, when I cannot get to speak to them quietly in a corner, in an office, we're going to have the conversation here. It's as simple as that. We will have the conversation one way or the other. So it's up to them whether or not they want to have the conversation privately with me, where we can knock it out in the room, take care of the people business. Because when I go to them, it's about the people's business, The DJ is okay. There's some unfinished business for the DJ, but overall the DJ is okay. But I want to know that the people's business. And I have been struggling. And why I'm struggling is because the Edwards family have been struggling for some time now. And even up to today, I spoke to my brother there, Brother Cance Edwards' daughter, the Lord Black. And my good people, it hurt my heart to know that we're supposed to have a caring Labour administration, a caring Prime Minister Joe. And I'm speaking directly to the Prime Minister this afternoon, because the Prime Minister has been in Parliament for the past couple of months. Every couple of weeks they're in Parliament. He has been on round table, press conference or whatever. In the last 110 days, he has had several opportunities to address the issues that I have been trying to get addressed and Cance Edwards' family has been trying to get addressed. And I'm coming to you all this evening to let you know that today, the 20th of November, do the calculation. If I'm wrong, correct me. Do the calculation. Today make 110 days since Cance Edwards went missing, The Lord Black, Buffalo Soldier. And if I sound like I am pissed, accept it as such, because I am pissed. I am boiling, right? To see how these people don't have any care for their people. Cance Edwards, even if it's a cockroach or a dog to you all, his family to somebody. He was a friend to me. He was an employee at ZIZ Radio and Television for years. He was at Freedom. He worked in the community. I've done a lot for the community. So when DJ Marisha speak, I represent anyone in the Federation, no matter who you are. Wrong is wrong and right is right. And the way that the Buffalo Soldier have been treated thus far, I am putting this at the feet of the Prime Minister, because he's the Minister of National Security and he's the Minister of Health. And my gripe tonight continues. It's been 110 days since Cance went missing. And the 1st of August 2024, his body was found in the mountain of Saddlers and the gut side in some grass. 102 days ago. 102 days ago, It's been 90 days to date since his funeral was held. It's been more than 10 weeks since letters was written and delivered to the Ministry of Health, to the acting PS Curtis Martin to be exact. Gentleman that I respect and love as an individual. But his performances thus far, I have a problem with. The lack of courtesy, empathy, and respect to the Edwards family and to myself. There are email addresses on those letters. There's at least 3 letters written to the Ministry of Health. One from yours truly, one from Mr. Mallet, and one from Pance Edwards' daughter to the Ministry of Health to get some answers. To date, not a response acknowledgement of those letters. I got a problem with that, my good people. The Prime Minister is the Minister of Health. He is in charge of the Ministry of Health. Everybody else represent him. As you guys are aware, since nothing has been done about cancer, last week we had a patient missing from the JNF just the same, because there's no protocols in place. And protocols need to be put in place. And with all the nonsense that's going on out there, whenever at his convenience, if Timothy come out and say something, the next day the Prime Minister come and respond to Timothy. Mr. Martinez came out on his podcast and said something on Monday night. There was a press conference scheduled with the team, with the Labour team, supposed to be for the 20th. And out of the blue, I heard that that press conference is postponed until a later date. But there was a round table today. I didn't have a chance to look at this round table that replaced the press conference. I don't see the reason, unless they got internal issues and they can't come together as one. I don't see any reason for this to be a round table today with just the Prime Minister and a few journalists, instead of having his team to address Mr. Martinez's claims. So for those of you pundits for the various administration, various parties who might have an issue with my commentary tonight, no problem. That is your right to have an issue with what I am saying, but this is my honest opinion. And I did not bite my tongue then, and it's not going to be bitten now. Today, that press conference should have taken place with the team, with the full slate of journalists. Let's get some real questions and hopefully some real answers. This round table today, I did not listen to it, like I said, but I got a call from someone asking me a few questions about the round table. So I had to go and listen to it. And some of the things they were telling me that was said, I correct them that the Prime Minister did not say that. The Prime Minister said this and whatever. And after a back and forth, and they go and they double check and they come back, they acknowledge that I was correct. The Prime Minister did not say what he was telling me. He said, but just the same, the Prime Minister makes some misrepresentation of certain things that I know did not transpire that way. I'm not going to get into it tonight. I'm going to give the Prime Minister the opportunity to have that conversation with me one-on-one, because I am privy to the conversation. I am privy to certain statements. And I don't want nobody to go out there and give the public any false information and give the public the impression that something is not what it is. And Mr. Prime Minister, I'm speaking to you direct this evening. In as much as people have been calling me and telling me that you're corrupt and you're this and you're that, I stand by you. I will continue to stand by you, Mr. Prime Minister. But I want you to understand something about the DJ. If I know for a fact that something to be this way, and I know that you know for a fact something is to be this way, and you're going to go out during Parliament or your round table or your press conferences and misrepresent, you're only going to have me losing respect for you, Mr. Prime Minister. And that I don't want to do. I have been listening to many of the rhetoric in Parliament, at press conferences, But this round table today was a square table. There's nothing wrong about this table today. And your rhetoric at that square table, the misinformation that I hear coming from some of the things that you're saying, it is not fair to me. And it's not fair to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because we put you there, we got your back, and you have done a lot of good in the time that you have been elected. Do not let nonsense and people pressure and people who misleading you, singing a chorus of wanting to say things that is not so, just for a hype, just for a like. That is not you. That is not the Dr. Joe that I met. That is not the Prime Minister that I was a part of electing. So I am saying this evening, is either you stay off of these square tables or don't say nothing. Let people talk, and if you don't have nothing that you know is truthful to say, don't say it. Because I'm not going to come out here and bring any private conversation between myself and you or anybody to the general public. But if you or anyone within your cabinet or your government going to come into the public to try discredit individuals, saying things that is not so, then I'm going to have to respond. Once I have the facts and know that it's different to what you're saying, I will respond. So today is a warning shot. I am going to leave it at that. Tonight is a warning shot. Let things take its course and fall where they may. I'm not going to come back with a second warning. I'm going to come back and address the situation head on and let the public know what the misrepresentations are. That is where that is at. Now, there are many things that I can say tonight that I am not going to say because I'm not here to dirty nobody's name, to destroy nobody's life. But some weeks ago, I got some calls from overseas. And basically, over the past couple of weeks, I've been getting those calls telling me that the Prime Minister that I support, the friend that I have as a Prime Minister that I support, he's corrupt, he's this and he's that. And I'm saying to them, well, I support the Prime Minister. I see how hard he's working. I see how hard he's trying to put the country back on track. And if you all have any information to justify what you all telling me, give it to me. And there was some information that came across that I find to be very serious and concerned because it sounded like it had some truth to it. And I said, you know what? I messaged the Prime Minister. And I said, good day, Honorable Prime Minister Joe. How you doing? I need to speak to you urgently. Didn't hear back from the Prime Minister for some time. So I messaged his advisor, Brother Rollins, Dr. Rollins. Same message. Dr. Rollins reached out to me. And I explained to him the concerns that I had. He told me, okay, he will speak to the Prime Minister and get back to me. And he did get back to me. And he said the Prime Minister said he will give you a call. Didn't hear from the Prime Minister until I was at my baby girl's grandmother's funeral on a Saturday evening. And we communicated, and I explained to him that there's some urgent matter that I came across. Whether it's true or false, I do not know. But I think you need to hear this information firsthand and make your decision what you want to do. Because as long as I do my part, as they would say, I do my due diligence, it's up to you. You're elected to run the country. You deal with the matter how you want. So once I drop that information on you, you know, you deal with it. And the way that things went down, I never really stopped to think about it that serious until today after I watched that square table. And I got a few calls. And it got me thinking the mindset of some people. Because my good people, the time that the Prime Minister gave me for this meeting, it was on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, the end of the day, which for me, I say, why would the Prime Minister want to set up a meeting with me at the end of the day? The end of his work day, this is my private time. This is his business. I should be doing business on his time, not on my time. And there's an individual that I invited into the Federation to speak to the Prime Minister based on the information that they found out. The individual get here on a Wednesday, and in having conversations, the meeting was supposedly move up from 4 p.m. to 2:30 the afternoon. Well, we got to government headquarters, and this meeting that should have been at 2:30, we never get into the Prime Minister's office until sometime after 4 or 5 o'clock, which I find to be disrespectful. Because when the Caucasian them come to them for meeting, they walk straight in. They meet them in the high-end restaurants or hotel to meet. But the little black boy and the little black man that is coming to bring information to them that should be beneficial to them, sit down out there like some little child for hours waiting to speak to the Prime Minister. And the disrespect can stop there. The meeting took place. And when that meeting was finished, I make sure I said to the PM, Mr. PM, we've been here for a while now chatting, and I know that you have other people outside waiting. So I am not going to take up much more of your time. So my meeting that I should have had with you and the other matters, I just need 5 minutes to wrap up that. And then we could talk at a later date. He said, no problem. Give me 5 minutes with the AG and I'll let you come back in. Well, my good people, when you talk about disrespect, I stand up outside waiting, think I am going back in to speak to the Prime Minister. This is now sometime after 5 minutes to 6. The Prime Minister's person that deal with the meeting, that calling people, call somebody else and not me. And I sat there until sometime around 8 p.m. when everybody else was seen before I can go inside. And then the young lady came out, said the PM wanted to know if anybody else out there. She told him, yes, Mr. Marisha is out there. And this Prime Minister Joe, my friend, when I got inside, he's telling me he did not know I was still outside. So I guess his intention, because he's not ready to hear from me, I want to hear what I have to say. He have me sit down out there and expect me to leave, but they don't know me, they shouldn't know by now. As long as you give me a meeting time, I will sit there 2 days, wait on you. Let you tell me leave. I'm not leaving. And to date, the matter of the people and my personal business I have to deal with have not been finalized with the Prime Minister. It's today when I am speaking to some individuals about the experience that the Prime Minister start things and don't finish them. I realize I'm not the only person. And I'm not talking tonight to bring down the Prime Minister. You know? I am talking tonight because if we don't talk now, the bad habit going to continue. So I am speaking in the interest of the Prime Minister, that they understand how to deal with poor people, that they understand how to deal with the citizens, especially your supporters and people that you know. They say, I'm your backative, I always supporting you and backing you and whatever. But for some of them who are out there with their pocket full and their account full and everything full and them out in all the draft them, because some of them is on 4, 5, 6 board, because nobody is saying it's got sense. So one man get all kind of 20 dip. This is what's going on. And they're going to try to shut you down and say, oh, because you don't get what you want. No. It's about fairness. It's about justice. It's about everybody must benefit. Everybody must survive in the federation. Whether you're CCM, NRP, PAM, PLP, Labour, it doesn't matter what party you support. I fight to elect a government that will be there for everyone and take care of everyone. So my good people, the square table that they had today is not a round table to me, it's a square table. And whoever want to have a problem with my statement, tough. But I want to say thanks to the MSR media, Mr. Martinez and his team for filing the RICO case, because the information that we are getting today, hadn't that case been filed, we would not have the information that we have. I do not know who is telling lie, who is telling truth. I know what sounds right to me and what sounds wrong. And Mr. Martinez did a Facebook Live broadcast via YouTube on Monday evening. There was a lot of speculation, a lot of charges levied against Prime Minister Joe, his AG, and other individuals. And the weak journalists that we have in St. Kitts and Nevis, the weak journalists did not even touch the surface and the questions that should be asked today. All kind of nonsense, they didn't touch it. So tonight, Marisha are going to touch it, Tonight, I'm going to feature Mr. Martinez's presentation on Monday evening. And together we, tonight on this platform, going to ask the questions then and hope we could get some answers. And it's not about bringing down the country, bringing down the government, but factual. Because many points that Mr. Martinez made on Monday evening, I've been asking them questions. Can't get no answers. For whatever reason, cannot get no answers. So, my good people, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to drop my boy G.A. Dwyer Astafan commentary for today. And when I finish drop my boy G.A. Dwyer Astafan commentary for today, see what I got? I don't like popcorn, so I got my ruffles. I'm going to sit back, listen to Mr. Martinez's presentation, and when he finish, we're going to answer the question then, because we have a right to know what's going on in our beloved federation. So let's take a quick listen to the J. Dwyer Astafan.
Greetings. Mr. Philip Martinez of MSR Media gave a podcast 2 nights ago, and in it he made some very bold statements. He called names, and he invited those who might be aggrieved at what he said to sue him. His basic argument was that his efforts to participate in our CBI program had been unfairly frustrated, and that his investigations had exposed a lot of corruption in both the St. Kitts Nevis and St. Lucia CBIs. Those of you who have been reading my writings and listening to my commentaries over the years will know that I have on a regular basis expressed my concern about a number of things in our CBI. And I've expressed particular concern about Galaxy and the dominant role that it has played, and to a lesser extent other Chinese-owned companies have played in St. Kitts and Nevis and in the sub-region. I've expressed the opinion that the actions of these companies are part of a geopolitical strategy by the government of China to exert critical influence over the affairs of these countries without having to fire one shot in anger. As long ago as 2006, with governments in the region allowing these mom and pop Chinese businesses to come into our economic space, thereby displacing our own mom and pop small businesses, and in the process facilitating the China expansionist strategy. China government, of course, sponsoring these migrants, reducing population stresses, social stresses, economic stresses, and political stresses within China itself, and also in the process expanding the Chinese economic and population footprint globally. A brilliant strategy for them, but not for you, unless, of course, you are one of the anointed, the chosen few, who could pick up 800,000 US dollars, or 2 million, or 4 million, or even 8 million, or even 27 million? Were you one of those? What have you gotten? These people should never have been allowed to come into our economic space like that. Strict conditions, strict management should always have been the order of the day. Never was though. And the Douglas administration, of which I was a member, and subsequently the Harris administration, must take the bulk of the blame for what has happened. And after the mom and pop shops and supermarkets came the CBI developers from China. With specific regard to the Galaxy project, Mr. Martinez states that he has evidence that none of the 5,500 applicants paid the required minimum investment as set by law, which is 175,000 US dollars. Mr. Martinez's local lawyers have presented some of that evidence in the judicial review case that is presently before the court and to be heard in March of 2025. Meanwhile, in that same case, the government lawyers have admitted that the government does not know how much the applicants paid. Indeed, I'm told that when asked by the judge in that same case, "Are you telling me that the only evidence is that there was underselling?" One of the government's lawyers answered yes. Maybe the government's lawyers and the government believe that the minister has a discretion to sign off on certificates of registration and grant citizenships, even with the underselling taking place. If he were able to do that under the law, he'd be transforming something from being illegal to being legal, just like Jesus transforming water into wine. Time will tell whether that is an argument that they will push and how that argument will fare before the court. So Mr. Martinez says that the minimum was not paid, that the government did not prove to itself that the minimum was paid, and that without being satisfied that the full amount under law was not paid, the Prime Minister should not have and could not have under the law signed the certificates of registration, maybe over 20,000 of them, counting spouses and dependents. The government's argument, on the other hand, seems to be that it was okay for the PM to sign those CORs and to issue citizenship to these 20,000 plus persons, unless, even after the fact, it can be proven that the full amount had not been paid. In other words, more specifically in my words, sign now and then verify later. If my read of this is correct, then their position is nonsensical with respect. Because if the minister has the discretionary power to turn an illegal application into a legal one, then why are we wasting time saying that the DPP is now involved? Let it go, leave it so. And let me explain why these citizenships were, if Mr. Martinez is correct, illegal. Under the relevant law, only persons who pass the due diligence test and who have paid the fees set out in law, both the government fees and the minimum investment fees, only those people are eligible to apply. Nobody else. You can't benefit from an illegal transaction and still get through. And the minister, I cannot see how anybody could successfully argue that the minister can transform illegality into legality. So from the very start, this matter cannot reach the point where that discretion of the minister comes into play. It would be horrific if a court would accept such an argument. And the law will not smile upon them if they adopt the approach of grant and then inquire. Let me ask you this. Is it wise for you to allow any animal to enter your chicken coop without first confirming that it is a chicken? What happens if you find out after the fact that the animal that you let in was a fox? How many chickens do you think will be left after you come to your senses? And another analogy, do you think St. Peter would let you into heaven before fully checking you out, you and your record? I'm sure you get the point. And it does not help the government's position that its principal legal advisor has stated that the Galaxy jail thing was a good scam. If that was his opinion, then why did his administration not act in accordance with it? You can't embrace a good scam. You can't countenance a good scam or a bad scam or any scam at all. You distance yourself from it and you punish as a government. So if that was his opinion, why did his administration not act in accordance with it? And if he changed his opinion, which of course he's entitled to do, the obvious question would be why? Ladies and gentlemen, with respect, not personal animus, I'm just trying to make the case here for us to observe the truth and be fair. This situation makes one wonder if it is not the best thing in the interest of all concerned for Mr. Garth Wilkin to resign from the post of Attorney General. A mistake was made in the first place. The certificates of registration should never have been signed, either by Harris or Drew. This is a ridiculous arrangement that has now led to a catastrophic situation. Yes, the DPP has initiated the process of investigating, but how long will it take his office to check through those over 20,000 citizenships? And after all of that time has elapsed, the foxes will have already taken over the chicken coop. The situation can be fixed while the DPP does his thing. As I have proposed, give these people 90 days to prove that they have paid the full amount. I doubt any can. And if they haven't paid the balance within that 90 days, to the government. If they do that, they can retain their citizenships. If not, bad news for them. In addition to having the citizenships revoked and the passports deactivated, there are other consequences that they could face. And also this is the only way that you, the people, will be able to get some of this big money that has been lost to you thus far. And we will never collect a penny from Galaxy unless we have the cooperation of certain powerful foreign countries, not including China in this matter. I wish upon all of us peace, reason, and commitment to truth. Meanwhile, can we expect governmental authorities overseas to get involved in investigating these things? What a journey we are about to embark upon.
Yes, my good people, that is Dwyer's commentary for today, November 20th, 2024. And my good people, as I said a few seconds or minutes ago, my disappointment in this so-called round table today, I call it a square table. Mr. Glenn Batt of SK Newsline asked his first question to the Prime Minister about this episode that was done by Mr. Martinez on Monday evening. And the Prime Minister's, and this tells me that he's diverting. You know, he's trying to pivot to something instead of giving a straight answer. All Mr. Glenn Batt was asking the Prime Minister, Mr. Martinez made some claims on Monday evening during his broadcast about some wrongdoing on your behalf and other players in the country. What's your position on that? The Prime Minister is yet to answer Mr. Batt's question. The Prime Minister went on to pull up something, whether on his phone, on his tablet, or wherever, to tell us that Mr. Martinez is a convicted fraudster. He spent time in prison in the US and in the UK or the EU, whatever. That's not what the question was about. And that get me a kind of ass up, because I am defending a Prime Minister and expect him to be honest and upright with the people of St. Kitts Nevis, including myself. So since the Prime Minister could not answer the straight questions them today, we're going to do it tonight. I got me waffles. I don't want potato chips. And I got me water. And I have the address here by Mr. Martinez. Whether he is a fraudster, convicted or otherwise, criminal or whatever, I don't need to know about that. I need to know about our Bill of Federation. I need to know about the CBI. I need to know if anything of this is true. And I don't need to know if everything is true. Because one thing for sure I know is true in this episode from Mr. Martinez, we are yet to get a good answer how the lady from Galaxy ended up in the contingent at the United Nations last year. We're still yet to get an answer. What role does she play in government? What role does she play in our diplomatic role to be at the United Nations with the Kitishan Division contingent? So, my good people, get your water, get your popcorn, get your wine, get your candy. Let's go. Brother Martinez, come in.
Today, the Justice Department led an international law enforcement operation stretching from Southeast Asia to Europe to the Caribbean, which disrupted 9/11-S5. 9/11-S5 was a botnet that facilitated cyber attacks, large-scale fraud, child exploitation, harassment, bomb threats, and export violations. As part of this operation, Yunhee Wang, a Chinese national, was arrested on charges for creating and operating the botnet and for deploying malware.
China in the Eastern Caribbean islands today sees a way for infiltration closer to the United States.
When China looks at the Caribbean, it understands that so many of those states that do recognize Taiwan are there. That makes the region particularly important strategically.
Roosevelt Skerritt, in an interview he conducted, agreed with China absorbing Taiwan.
Part of the Chinese international business model is to put its people in your country, put its capital in your country, and gain a foothold in that country in every aspect of human endeavor.
The Chinese population under the CBI program will overcome or overwhelm those little islands where they'll have the votes to control the Caribbean islands.
So you're looking at literally billions of dollars that were generated through our citizenship scheme that went in the direction of private people, both outside and inside the Federation, but did not bring any substantial benefit to the country.
So they have robbed, betrayed the people of their country right under the version of "we love you."
There has been far too little public focus on the fact that PRC hackers are targeting our critical infrastructure, our water treatment plants, our electrical grid, our oil and natural gas pipelines, our transportation systems, and the risk that poses to every American requires our attention now.
In peacetime, that level of influence that China achieves commercially creates opportunities for China to advance their objectives in the region. In wartime, those relationships become even more concerning, especially given how close the Caribbean and Mexico and Central America are to sensitive U.S. military facilities. It's been like watching a slow-motion train wreck, something that everyone can see happening, but everyone is tragically unable to stop.
Hello, I'm Philippe Martinez, and welcome to Impact World Media. We are a new American world news company. We have correspondents in London, Paris, Moscow, Hong Kong, Dubai, Tel Aviv, Casablanca, Washington, New York, Miami, Los Angeles. Our goal is not to bring breaking news, but to conduct investigation, research, analysis on geopolitical issues and on fighting corruption. Today, exceptionally, because it's the first podcast, I will be speaking only by myself. And I will be addressing the corruption in the Citizenship by Investment program. I will try to give you information that you, the people, never have. Information is power. Without information, well, you're being run by people that don't look for your interests. I will make two announcements that are very important. I'm going to make one now, and I'm going to make one at the end of the podcast. The one that I'm going to make now concerns the RICO case and concerns one specific individual. At the end of the podcast, I will make an announcement regarding action that I've taken regarding individuals in St. Lucia and in St. Kitts. MSR Media was approved as a citizenship by investment in St. Kitts and Nevis by the Harris administration. Why? Well, simply because we were making movies, we were hiring a lot of jobs, and bringing a lot of publicities in our film for the island. So it was a win-win situation for the Federation and for MSR Media. For the past 2.5 years, we have investigated the fraud, the money laundering, the corruption in the citizenship by investment program. What we found is beyond imagination. A criminal network going over several countries and continents. We have investigated in mainland China, in Hong Kong, in Dubai, Egypt, Jordan, London, and of course, all over the Caribbean. Our investigation starts from the moment we were approved by the Harris administration in the spring 2022, up to now. Over the past 10 days, Mr. Bulora, the president of my company, who is a former US government official, went to St. Kitts and Nevis so that with my lawyer in St. Kitts, Mr. Damien Kelsick, could meet Mr. Denzel Douglas, Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. They had several meetings with Mr. Douglas and his legal advisors. Those meetings were very, very important. Mr. Bulora is now back in the United States, and he has given me a full report on the content of those meetings. Based on that report, I have decided to instruct my lawyer to release Denzel Douglas from the RICO case. He's out. Denzel Douglas has discussed with my team in a very open way and has understood the gravity and the catastrophic possible scenario that could come on the country. Before we go into the issue of the fraud, money laundering, and corruption in the CBI program, I'm going to say a few words about the documentary that we've announced, The Men Who Sold the Caribbean to China. What we've done is that we have interviewed and done extensive research with some very important experts and officials that have studied for years the infiltration of the Caribbean in Venezuela and in the Caribbean and in Latin America. We have particularly researched the surge of Chinese companies in the citizenship by investment program and the extraordinary amount of Chinese nationals that are not citizens of the Caribbean. What are the dangers for you, the people? Well, let me give you just one quick example. St. Kitts and Nevis is about 50,000 people, more or less. You have over 60,000 new citizens. You don't know who they are. Lots of them, most of them, are from China and the Middle East. All it takes is one decision of the Chinese government for them to move in. I'm sure you are aware that China does not recognize dual citizenship. So you want to ask yourself a question. why is China allowing major Chinese sales company like Galaxy, Globe Visa, to sell openly in mainland China, in Hong Kong, citizenship to their citizen? Why? Why is it that in the past year, Chinese citizens with St. Kitts and Nevis passport have been arrested by the United States government in America for major crime? Money laundering is one of them, but much more serious crime as well. You want to ask yourself the question why suddenly last week, in emergency, the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia had to cancel a passport of a citizen of China who became a citizen of St. Lucia because he says that he will harm the reputation of the country. What's the agenda of China in the Caribbean? What are the dangers for the United States to have Chinese intelligence and so many Chinese citizens that now will represent very soon the majority of the population of you, the local of the Caribbean? You want to ask yourself the question why your Caribbean leader have allowed this to happen. And what is their connection with Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela? All of that will be revealed in our documentary, The Men Who Sold the Caribbean to China. We are going to first screen and send the documentary to all members of the US Senate and all members of the US Congress in January 2025. I must warn you, what we have found is explosive. Now, let's start to talk about the fraud, money laundering, and corruption in the CBI program. So where is the fraud? And how does it affect you? Let me first give you a little bit of historic, right? Because you in St. Kitts have not been able to have any real information. What you have is propaganda that has been given to the various media outlets controlled by the various parties. MSR Media, we were very happy in Nevis. We did a lot of movies. The only thing is that we got criticized by the head of the CBI program that we were paying the people too much and that it was not a good example for the other company. But then at the end of 2021, Harris, Nisbet, and his wife told me that it was absolutely crucial that we shoot a film in Belmont Farm, Kittitian Hill, right? That we've shot a lot of movies in Nevis, and it was crucial that we go to St. Kitts because they wanted to have a lot of publicity for the site, who, as you know, has been abandoned and was another CBI disaster for a long time. So we did it. We shot the movie, and then the government at the time, Harris and Nisbet, tried to convince us to buy Kittitian Hill, Belmont Farm. We looked into it. We were close to make a deal, but then at the last minute, they told us the real amount of the debt of the site and the amount of litigation involved. We backed out. But then came a new player, someone that I consider a friend, Len Harris. Now, I know Len is a very controversial person in St. Kitts, at least that's how he's being presented by the government and in the media. But I have to tell you, with me, There was no controversy whatsoever. He came and he said, Philippe, we cannot make the deal. We understand why in Kittitian Hill, but here's what we suggest. And we worked on a deal with him and Timothy Harris. And I believe in, if my memory serves well, because everything that I'm telling you on this podcast, keep in mind, I can prove it in a court of law, both civil and criminal. I'm going to repeat that again. For all the lawyers and defendants and the officials that are watching this podcast, every single thing that I'm saying is fully documented, and I can prove it in a civil court of law and in a criminal court of law. So in, I think, January 2022, we signed a contract by which we created a company that will be owned by my company and by the government, one of the government company, I think it's called Whitegate, if I remember well, of which we were going to acquire and develop, I think, close to 400 acres of La Vallée and Kittitian Hill to build a $1 billion resort, ultra luxury, for Hollywood movie star. That was going to be a very eco-friendly project that was going to create 500 permanent jobs. We've spent a fortune flying architect from California. In the contract that we signed with the government, we were going to be receiving 1,200 shares of CBI. At the time, I knew nothing about Galaxy, nothing about CBI. I was too busy directing and producing things non-stop. Keep in mind, we have made 10 movies in 2 years in the Federation of St. Kitts of Nevis. So we were working on that. And then Mark Brantley and Sean Richard decided to make a vote of confidence against Timothy Harris. When I saw that, I said, Jesus, everything is going to explode. The government is going to explode. I can tell you, and it's also fully documented, that I tried to make the peace between Timothy and Mark. And I was very close to break a deal to bring a lot of money. But at the end of the day, those men decided they were going to go at each other, and nothing could stop it. Which is what led to the federal election of 2022. Now, during the election campaign, Mark Brantley went full on in the press saying that the jail project was a major scandal at 5,500 shares. Mark is a close friend of mine. I know that a lot of the propaganda media in St. Kitts have always assumed that my legal action were some type of political plot between Mark Brantley and Terence Drew to get rid of Harris and Denzel Douglas. I think that you're going to find out today that it's far from the truth. Now, me, I'm a simple guy. I said to myself, hold on a second. We signed a deal memo with the government to make a $1 billion project of ultra-luxury resort with a film studio, with a big American hedge fund. And we're getting 1,200 citizenship units at $200,000. And the Chinese Caribbean Galaxy are getting 5,500 units at 175,000 for a jail that costs $40 million. Now, I'm sure that if you were in my shoes, you would say, there's something wrong here. So when Mark Brantley made public the jail amount of share, that's when we started our investigation. I have to tell you, it didn't took that long for us to find out about the scam. We have collected very quickly enough evidence to prove the fraud, the corruption, and the money laundering. And I'm talking before the election. I had 2 or 3 meetings with Terence Drew before the election. And I told him, I said, listen, I don't know if you're going to win, but if you do win, you should be aware that there is a massive problem in your citizenship by investment program. Fraud, money laundering, corruption. And he said, I understand, and I guarantee you that if I get in power, I will fix it. I said, please, because we have invested in your country. He said, please, if I win, keep investing because I will need the investment. After the election, I called, literally the next day, I called Sylvester Anthony. Now that's a name that's going to be very interesting. And I said, meet me at the Park Hyatt. Literally, they were celebrating, I think it was even the day that Drew was inaugurated. He came and I said, look, here's my phone, here are the documents. I want you to review with me the evidence that I have of corruption, fraud in the citizenship by investment program. He said, no. I'm not going to blow $1 billion business because you have some evidence of fraud and corruption. He refused to look at the evidence. I had another meeting with Drew, and I warned him, and I offered him to look at the evidence. And I told him, you got another major problem. We believe that the Chinese intelligence service have infiltrated your program. We believe, and we have evidence that suggests that Ying is possibly a Chinese agent. Drew didn't want to look at the evidence. What he did was, I think a month or so later, he's invited Ying Jing, who at the time was the boss of Caribbean Galaxy, who he knew, because I informed him, that she was selling the passport of your country at 50% of the legal price and breaking the law in your country, which he knew that I had evidence that suggests that she could be a Chinese agent. And he invited her to be part of the official delegation of St. Kitts and Nevis at the United Nations General Assembly. When I saw that picture, I had another meeting with Drew, which was very heated. And I told him, hey, I'm leaving. I'm done. He said, no, please. I want you to come to cabinet. People don't know what you're doing in the country. People don't know what I'm doing in country? We had 100 people working for us. The minimum wage was $700 US per week. We've done at the time 5 movies. And people didn't know what we were doing in the country. The government didn't know what we're doing in the country. We were approved already by the CBI. Anyway, I went to the cabinet. And after that, we had a meeting with Garth Wilkin, with my American partners, at his office, right? I can tell you what happened in the meeting very precisely. Mr. Attorney General, I'm here to file or to press, or whatever you call it in St. Kitts, criminal charges against Galaxy and Lescan. I have evidence that I would like you to review. I wasn't alone. We were with my American partners. But somehow, nobody wanted to look at our evidence. So the thing was, well, Philippe, we're going to take care of you. We're going to give you the unit, but I already have the unit. Well, we're going to give you a little bit more unit, like that you can make bigger movies. Okay. What are you going to do to stop the fraud? I guarantee you, we are not processing the illegal fraud. And he said, Andrew told me, don't believe what you hear. People have a political agenda. We are not processing those illegal applications. You have my word on that. Remember, we bought the hotel and continue to invest because Drew told us that he was training up the program. What he didn't tell us, and what he always denied, him and Gus Wilkin, that they were processing the application of Galaxy at the fraudulent price, not at $175, at less than $100,000. And they denied it. They say, Philippe, it's not true. You're hearing things. Trust us, trust us, trust us. Let's talk about the fraud itself and why so many units were given to Galaxy for the jail project and how it affects you, the people. Those programs are made to create real jobs for the economy so that you people can have jobs, well-paid jobs, and proper infrastructure. Well, take your car and drive around the country. What do you have? A bunch of abandoned CBI projects that are killing the landscape of the country. Why? Why does your government allow that? Ask yourself the question. That's not complicated to understand. So let's talk about the fraud itself, right? Why would the Harris administration give 5,500 shares, which is close to $1 billion to Galaxy for a jail that costs 40 million US? Well, let me explain to you why. Because this structure, organized by Lescan, no question about that, and by the Queen of the Caribbean, Ying Jin, well, it allows everybody to make money. They knew that they were not selling the passport at 175, right? So they needed an extraordinary amount of share of passport to dump at a much cheaper price. The contract of Lescan is paid by the number of passports sold. So the more passports he gives for a project, boom, more cash for him. Now your friends, your brother in the country, the processing agent, the lawyers, people that you call your friends, how do you think they became millionaires overnight? Because every time they were processing a passport, or file, they were getting $2,500, $3,000, sometimes $5,000. That's how they became millionaires overnight. So the more passport is given to a project with absolutely no regard for the economic of the project, everybody makes money. So you have Lescan making huge amount of money. As you know, we MSR have obtained in court, and we won every time, the bank record of Galaxy through the US corresponding bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, I think, bunch of bank. We won. They fought very hard, them and Harris, to stop us, but we won, and we got the transaction. So now we have those transactions. Can you imagine? We have the bank transaction of Galaxy, of Farron Lawrence, of his company, of Harris, Denzel, everyone, Khan. So a few months ago, I decided to make an example of the fraud, to file in the court of St. Kitts in the defamation case, because these people, you have to understand, they call themselves honorables, all of them, right? For me, believe me, there is nothing honorable about these individuals. So I wanted to give them a warning. And since they had the audacity to sue me for defamation, I filed in the court in St. Kitts how much Les Khan was paid. We already identified $13.5 million that he was paid. 10.5 from the CBI program. So you understand? More passport given, dump the passport at a fraction of the legal price, but his contract says that he gets a bonus per passport. Boom. That's why Les Khan made that structure, because he was directly benefiting that. And he was paid to his American consulting company in America, in Florida. And Mr. Khan is a US citizen. Then we found out that Mr. Khan was paid by Galaxy while he was the CEO of the citizenship program. Well, it's called bribe. Whatever you want to take it, it's called bribe. Now, your government has those information. Did they do something about it? Did they indict Les Khan? Did they even told him to come to St. Kitts to explain himself? Good governance. We're going to find out a lot about good governance tonight. Then we found out something that put the entire Citizen by Investment program in the Caribbean in danger. We found out that Galaxy and Khan agreed to use a due diligence company in China, and that company is owned by the vice president of Galaxy. What does it mean? You know how these people are, they talk about, oh, we have the strongest due diligence. Lies. Lies. The due diligence of all the Chinese of Galaxy nationals were made by their own fake due diligence company. That means that all the people that have been delivered the passport, their due diligence is compromised. I told that to Drew and the AG. I sent him the name of the company, I sent him the certificate of ownership of the company, I sent him the organigram of Galaxy, and I told him that I've given that to the Homeland Security in the United States. And I told them, you need to bring each one of those Chinese that have your passport in St. Kitts and do a complete new due diligence on these people to see who they are. Because like I said before, there is a lot of spy activities and criminal with your passport. Has that been done? No. Did you ask all those Chinese to come that hold your passport and verify it and have them fingerprinted again in St. Kitts? No. Do you realize the danger that you're creating for the entire program? That the unit has allowed a fake due diligence company controlled by the VP of Galaxy to perform the due diligence? And you're talking to me about good governance? So we have identified how Les Khan benefited directly from the fraud, obviously. Dumping the number of passports, closing the eyes on how much they're sold for, and he gets paid by the number of applicants. We have already identified how some of your friends, people that call themselves, oh, my brother, became millionaires overnight, like Dwyer Estefan says all the time in his podcast. You know what they are. I don't need to repeat it. You can go to the list of the, and I can tell you the one that have the most committed fraud. They became millionaire overnight. Nobody cared. And everybody closed their eyes on the underselling and the fraud because they were all making a fee out of it. So local processing agent, local lawyers, boom, lots of money, right? Millionaires. While you're struggling, while they're coming to you and say, oh, dividend, 1,000 EC. That's, you know, no, it's not even charity. I can tell you very precisely that after calculating without the fraudulent contract associated to CBI, without the corruption, the citizen, their CBI dividend should be at least $15,000 per year, US, not EC 1,000. I can sit down with Terence Drew anytime he wants on this podcast. I have my calculation, I have the bank statement of everyone, and we can do the addition anytime he wants. So when I hear that MSR has created a lawsuit for the collapse of the program, no. MSR has exposed the people that have been robbing the citizen of the country. You, the citizen, there is nothing you can do. Yeah, you can vote, that's it. But it's the same. Whether you vote that one or that one, it's the same. That's why they never sue each other. Because if one sue each other, the other one is going to give the dirt on the other one. Right? So that's it. Your vote, sorry to say, but whatever. But me and my team, we're the ultimate warriors. I've exposed their fraud and corruption and money laundering and more in US federal court and with the US Department of Justice. Because this is ending. I've already won. The people of the Federation needs to understand, I already won because I've already put the fear of God into them. Where is Les Khan? Oh, he's hiding. You ain't gonna see Les Khan in the Caribbean anytime soon. He's hiding with his money offshore because he know I'm coming. You know we're coming. The politician, they have the fear of God too. They know how much they made. They know have their bank accounts. They would have never imagined that I could do that. No one has ever done that. And why am I doing that? Because I want justice for me, and I want to force them to give the money back. Let me give you a few information that you need to know. I think January or February 2023, Again, I can prove that document. WhatsApp communication, emails. I gave to Attorney Garth Wilkin the bank account of Galaxy. I said, here's where the money is. I found the money. Go get it. Have they done something about it? No. Nothing. And I couldn't understand why. So let's talk about the famous speech of Terence Drew at the Parliament. Madam Speaker, they gave 22,000 passports to the jail project, Madam Speaker. They, meaning the Harris administration. So let me finish the speech for you, Terence Drew. Because in the last month, I have the information and the document. Let me finish the speech for you. Madam Speaker, they gave 22,000 passports for the jail project, which is 45% of the population of the country, to Chinese people that we don't know where they're coming from, and the due diligence is compromised. I have processed those passports illegally sold under the legal price by at least $100,000 myself, Madam Speaker. The vast majority of them, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when Philippe Martinez told me that we have found the fact that Galaxy was using a fake due diligence company, I did not tell those Chinese nationals to come in St. Kitts to do fingerprint in person, Madam Speaker. You want to do, Madam Speaker? We can do, Madam Speaker, all the time. Because I have the full documentation to prove what I'm saying. And we're going to subpoena every government employee that was involved. Madam Speaker. So when Timothy Harris, and God knows I have my issue with Timothy Harris, but when Timothy Harris says, Drew processed most of those applications, he's not lying. He's telling the truth. Absolutely. By the way, you will notice that in the investigation that has been launched by Prime Minister Drew, and he cannot talk about it because it's wide and wide, right? He said that it's pre-reform. Terence, I got news for you. For us, we have made the investigation after the reform to see how many each one of you have been processed. Let me tell you something. We filed a judicial review in court in St. Kitts. To be honest with you, I had no faith or hope whatsoever that a St. Kitts judge would actually hear the case and allow a trial to take place. Absolutely. I said to myself, I know enough of the country now, and I don't believe that their judicial system is going to be independent. So I don't know the judge, but whoever she is, God bless her, that she will allow a trial to take place in March so that the people of the country knows everything. Well, let me tell you what they've done already. The government and the Attorney General, Wilkin, came to the court. They tried to dismiss the case, right? What they didn't know is that a lot of people are coming to America to settle their dispute because they know what I've done, right? And they give us information. We let them go, they give us information, contract, sales agent, invoice. And we've submitted those contracts and the invoice to the court in St. Kitts. It shows very clearly that for the jail project, it was way undersold. All of them. every single one of them. So do you know what the lawyer of the government said to the judge? In front of Gas Wilkin, the government doesn't know how much the passports are being sold. The government doesn't know how much the passports are being sold. But Terence True still processed them. MSR Media was able to find out precisely how much the passport was sold for, bring the contract, bring the invoice, how much the client paid, but the government couldn't. Because I'm going to tell you something. When they're going to come to the United States, they're all going to say, we didn't know. Now, when we provided to Terence Drew the contract and the invoice of 2 sales agent companies, I honestly thought he was going to call me to say, thank you, Philippe, we're going to cancel those passports immediately and we're going to blacklist those sales agents. I only thought he was going to say, well, I know he's a friend, but there is a certain escrow account agent that we're going to blacklist as well. Because we also gave him evidence of fraud in the Ramada Hotel with fake certificate that the client paid $200,000. We have the contract and the invoice showing how much the contract was paid for, and the fake certificate from the lady at the escrow agent. We have also very strong evidence to suggest that Galaxy has used that escrow agent. We know who he is. Farron, right? To bribe the politician. Because as Les Khan says, they need a lot of cash. Farron is an American citizen. Did you know that? An American citizen bribing official. You should check on the internet. I think it's called Foreign Corruption Practice Act. Something like that. The goal for us was not to destroy the program. Dwyer Stefan and I, Dwyer through his podcast, and me in direct discussion with Drew, I say, look, man, your economy is collapsing, right? There is no investment that has been made in the country in the past 2.5 years, right? The people are struggling. Let me present you a plan. It's very simple. You make a statement that whoever has not paid his passport, the legal price, has 90 days to send the money directly to the Treasury. If not, the passport is deactivated. And how you do that? You send a memo, you make an official statement, and you send a memo to all the fraudulent sales agents, and I can provide you the list. Make the list. It's very simple. You get 5,500, right? Government could collect $500 million in 90 days. Because they all want to keep their passport. Believe me. They all want their passports. Otherwise, they cannot travel anymore. Otherwise, they cannot, some of them, commit fraud and spy the United States. So they want their passport. But I said, but you got to bring them here so that you can run a new fingerprint in St. Kitts. Did that happen? No. So if you don't have a Christmas dividend of $10,000 for Christmas, it's because Drew didn't want to listen to Dwyer's suggestion and my suggestion. Now you got to ask yourself a question. And Terence Drew, I have supported you. I have applauded the reform that you've done. But now that I know that you have processed the vast majority of the Galaxy application and that you have lied to me, now you got some explaining to do. Not only with me, and you know what I'm talking about. Let me talk to you about the last 2 chapters of corruption level. Well, you should know something. All those sales agents in China, in the Middle East, they're making a killing. They're making between $25,000 to $40,000, sometimes $50,000 on each applicant. Almost more than the government. Let's go back now to Terence Drew. I saw his video where he announced the number. Yes, 600 million, 690, and now 220. Well, he should have explained to you why, right? Because now that indeed there is a stronger system in place, right? Because otherwise they were going to be shut down by the EU. Because the EU knows everything now. Well, Galaxy took their criminal organization to St. Lucia. And in Grenada, it's going full as well with another Chinese company. So Drew told you the numbers. So you're happy as people, 200 million, 600 million. Let's talk about CS Global. And then you're going to find out a new layer of where your money is going. Once Les Khan realized that I was on to him, he tried to show me that he was not the only bad guy. So he met me in Saint Martin, my country, France, and we filmed him. A courageous gentleman from Nevis flew and filmed him. And he gave me the contract of CS Global, which was renewed right before the federal election for 5 years. So let me tell you about CS Global. It's a marketer. It was created in St. Kitts by Sylvester Anthony and Dave Bath. Sylvester Anthony. We'll get back to him later. So when you guys get money, when Drew tells you we collected 200 million EC, Drew, how much of that are you paying to CS Global? How much of the $600 million the year before was paid by CS Global? Because I made my investigation. And I have the accounting of CS Global in the UK. And I have the bank transaction of CS Global. It's very interesting. Very interesting. CS Global used to get $19,000 for each applicant. And then it was reduced to $11,000 after a negotiation. And for the jail project, of which they did nothing, they were given $5,000 right before the election. Why? What are they doing? Go to Instagram. They have 1,200 people that follow them. And they also market St. Lucia and Dominica, because when Denzel allowed CS Global to be formed, he then took them to Dominica, where they have the same deal. I know, because I have the bank transaction as well from CS Global in relation to Dominica. So basically, while you, the people, are begging for 1,000 EC, well, just on the jail project, CS Global is picking up about 27 million US dollars. To do a little bit of internet, to a little post on Instagram, to say, buy St. Kitts? No. They have also something useful, right? Because you saw that you got the ranking of the best program in the Caribbean. So just so you know, people pay for that. right? I have a full statement of Les Khan saying that they're paying for that. And that's one of the things that DevBass does. So CS Global, I think I will reveal very soon who's getting that money. Because then they created CS Global in the UK, and I can tell you that that money doesn't end up in the UK. Huh? No. By the way, when we threatened to sue CS Global, they sent one of the biggest lawyers in America, Lanny Davis. So who's Lanny Davis? Top lawyer, lobbyist. Lanny Davis represented Michael Cohen against Donald Trump. He was every day on CNN, MSN, attacking Donald Trump like you can't believe it. So when I threatened to sue CS Global, which I am, suddenly Lanny Davis said that he represents CS Global for many years, that they're good people, that if I sue them, they're going to countersue me. Now you have to understand, when you see that the lawyer who's attacking Donald Trump all over the media and in court wants to come after me, well, I was a little bit nervous. I told my lawyer to tell him that I know he's a big shot. Tell him that I've already provided all the information to the US Department of Justice. And let's have a Zoom call in 3 days. Because I want to show him our evidence. So now for 3 days, I'm like ready to show him the evidence. 1 hour before the Zoom call, he sent an email to say that he won't be able to represent the client on this matter, meaning CS Global, and that he's excusing himself from the matter. I took the email and I framed it, and it's my office. But then we started to do a little bit of digging. What does Lanny Davis has to do with DevBass and CS Global? And then we realize, see, those programs, they are allowed, because you have to understand the people, the countries like the United States and European Union, they are allowing those passports to travel in their country. So they have a say that they are run properly. The US Treasury is involved in that, right? Now the US Treasury have no idea of the massive fraud and money laundering through US bank, right? They're gonna find out very, very soon. When Harris was elected, they brought CS Global and Lanny Davis to go to the US Treasury and vouch as a representative of St. Kitts and Nevis. I know we have the payment, because when you are paid as a lawyer by a foreign country, you have to declare it. So Lanny Davis vouch at the US Treasury for a program that is about to become massively exposed as a Chinese infiltration. That's what I'm going to say on that. And you're going to find out more about the documentary. So DevBass is no longer technically the owner of CS Global because he wanted to be an official. So they made him an official representative of the country in London. Business, so he's basically like a diplomat. Now, I really would like you to meet the guy, and I would like well, you're gonna get to meet the guy in US court, but very controversial figure, right? Accused of being part of the kidnapping of a Indian businessman that was kidnapped in Antigua, brought to Dominica with some Indian gangster from London, and then the guy escaped. But DevBass, and there was a big article in the Daily Mail, but DevBass said that he doesn't know the kidnappers, and he has never met them, and the fact that he was in Antigua when it took place is a coincidence. Not too long ago, DevBass was in St. Kitts. So I sent him a WhatsApp. I said, Dave, why don't you go to see my lawyer in St. Kitts? He's got a movie He wants to show you. It's very short. I have obtained the security camera where Dave Bass goes into the car and meet the kidnapper with the car that they use. So it's not a coincidence. He knew the kidnappers. I have the film, the security footage. Do you want to see it, Dave? So why am I upset with Dave Bass? Well, first of all, that structure where he cash money from Dominica, from St. Kitts. And where is that money is going? Well, I know where the money is going, right? So obviously, you the people should find out where that money is going. It's going to be revealed. I'm going to reveal it. One day, I don't know, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to say, here we go. Here are the beneficiaries. That's why I've created the news media. And that's why I'm taking them to court as well. After I discovered the evidence of the contract of CS Global, I asked Terence Drew to come to meet me at my hotel in St. Kitts with Dwyer Estefan and my dear friend and advisor, Charles Wilkin. And we told him, so what is that? What is that contract? He took the contract and said, okay, I will look into it. Good governance, I will look into it. Then I say, let me show you the 45 minutes video of Les Khan explaining who are the beneficiaries of that contract. Oh, I don't have time now. I have to go. I have to go. I'm giving you a contract that's more than suspicious. At the time, I didn't have the bank transaction, I must confess. I have a video of Les Khan explaining precisely the historic of CS Global, how much they're making, and who are the beneficiary. And you have to go. That's the good governance, Terence Drew? So I decided, with Mr. Buloa, who's expert in intelligence and counterterrorism, to go to meet Dave Bass. And we went to meet him in London, in his office. I was very polite and I said, Dave, we've never met, but you know that we know that Ying Jing is the queen of the CBI in the Caribbean, and you're the king of the Caribbean CBI. Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis. You get money for doing nothing. I have a video I'd like to show you. Now you'll get to hear Dave Bass, and he talks like a street guy. Oh, I don't care, I don't want to see nothing, I don't care. Drew is my little brother, you know. I say, Dave, the Chinese are selling the passport for half the price. Why are you allowing that? Oh, it's their problem. You know why it's their problem? Because it doesn't matter how much they sell it for. Dave gets his cut. And then whoever I know gets their cut, get their cut. All over the Caribbean. Dominica, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, it's a little bit different. So then I said, Dave, we're going to have a problem. Because if we're not able to sell and be treated as a competitive market, I'm going to have a problem. And he said, well, you know, you should go. We don't like Americans. You know, we like Russia, India. Fuck America. Fuck America. I told Dave, thank you very much for your time. We're going to do that, just that. I called Drew. After, we were in London. I called Wilkin. I told them that that guy needs to be expelled as a diplomat of the government, or whatever his function is, and that I demand an apology. Again, the good governance, they say, oh, he's not technically in the government, he's the official representative, and he's the guy that gets a cut on each passport of your money, people. I went with Mr. Buloa to have a cigar, relax, and I told him, hey, that's it, I'm done. Call the American authority. He did. We flew to the United States. I provided all the evidence that the good governance Prime Minister and the good governance Attorney General refused to watch for 1 year. And we gave them to the US authority. I told Terence Drew that I will do that. And I've always kept him informed. Always. Then after that, I think I received the very famous WhatsApp messages of from Garth Wilkin to Dwyer Estefan, where basically it confirmed his knowledge of the fraud. But at the time, I didn't have the contract of the clients, right? And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I mean, Jesus, they tell me that that what I'm saying is not true, and he's confessing in the WhatsApp messages. I sent the messages to Drew. I was furious after him. No, we're fixing things. Good governance, good governance. Then Drew came to see me to Washington, D.C. And I told him, I said, listen, you're here. I mean, send Garth Wilkin. Because the American Justice Department has everything now. It's a case. I called Garth. I said, Garth, if I were you, knowing the magnitude of the problem, I would come to the US right now and sat with the people in charge of this investigation. I don't want. Why? Because I imagine the worst and I don't want to know. The same in St. Lucia. Huh? Philippe G. Pierre, the I don't know Prime Minister, and Ernest Hiller, the mastermind, they know about it. So your governments are not telling you that all of this is being investigated. Now let's define the all of this. What all those great honorable, no, they're not honorable, all those individuals, all that criminal enterprise that goes from China to Dubai to Jordan to Egypt to London and the Caribbean, Iraq and Iran. What they forgot, which I understood right away, they're selling the passport in US dollar. And you cannot get money in the country without that money transiting from the US banking system, Bank of America. And before that it was Wells Fargo. But mainly it's Bank of America. So that fraud goes to Bank of America. That fraud that all of them are part of and close their eyes. Now everyone is on a different level, right? There's going to be a level and they will have to explain themselves. But it goes to the US banking system. US bank have been infected by that fraud. I can tell you that Bank of America is on full alert on that subject matter. So you have a possible major problem with the bank. You have Chinese nationals that are criminal and spy that hold your passport, that create a problem to the US and the EU. You have fraud committed in your program where the government official, I'm telling you right now, they're all going to do what they did in the court in St. Kitts, we didn't know. We don't know how much the passports are being sold for, right? Except that, Philippe, we have, and I gave it to the US Department of Justice, all the contracts from St. Kitts and from St. Lucia that Drew and Ernest Hiller signed off on. So, like I said in an interview that I had, you're going to find a lot of people that are going to say that they didn't know. And that Les Khan and Ying Jing, it was only them that did that. I have recording of, I think I have like 25 recordings and video. And Les Khan say, I'm the scapegoat. That's why he took off. Let's talk about Les Khan, if you don't mind. They say that Les Khan was fired from the CIA, that Galaxy was expelled from St. Kitts. Were they? Was Les Khan fired from the CIA? Terence Drew, do you want to give us the letter that says that? You want to make that letter public? Or did Les Khan resign? Which one is it? Now, we're being said that Galaxy was expelled from St. Kitts. No, they were not expelled from St. Kitts. They moved their operation to St. Lucia, where now their criminal enterprise is operating. That's it. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that after he was elected, Drew asked them if they wanted to be involved in the housing project. You are being so blinded by those propaganda websites. And I challenge any of those guys to come on this platform and I'll bring my evidence. They won't. Or if they want to sue me for defamation, go ahead. You saw what happened to Harris and to Galaxy and Ying Jing when they sued me for defamation. That gave me, to defend myself, all of your bank accounts. So I know now every dime that you've taken from this country. So go ahead, challenge me, make my day. The Drew administration is doing everything they can to stop us to operate and recover our money. I'll give you an example. We don't have an escrow account to process application. I can tell you that our financier in the United States was in Nevis. He has at least 15, 20 applications that he wants to process, and we cannot, because for months and months and months, we asked the Drew administration to provide us a way to have an escrow account, and they're being silent. They play the game of the silent, trying to strangle us financially, which they're trying. So, the gloves are off. The people need to know that the companies that have sold the passport at half the price are going to be blacklisted. I have irrefutable evidence that Philippe Gépierre knows that Galaxy is doing the underselling. Friday, I filed an official document with the US Department of Justice. This document named 15 individuals and companies of St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia. I have sent all the evidence proving their involvement in the fraud conducted by Caribbean Galaxy. This criminal network needs to be handled by an authority that has the power to end it. Thank you.
Well, my good people, there it goes. That was the presentation by Brother Martinez there, uncut. So for those of you who might think that I edited any of that presentation, it was uncut, just the way he presented it, just the way I bring it to you. For those of you who want to stop there and play your party politics and say none of this is true, I guess at the end of the day, the courts will determine what is lie, what is truth. But I know there are some things in that presentation that I have concern over that I would like the Prime Minister to tell us. One, originally, Dr. Douglas was named in the RICO lawsuit. According to Mr. Martinez, Dr. Douglas is no longer a part of that suit. He was removed. There was a Chinese citizen that has been arrested in some place in the US that carries a St. Kitts Nevis passport. What's the status of that? Is that true or not? Ying Jing, there's pictures to show that she was at the United Nations in 2022 as part of the team that went to represent whether 22 or 23, I'm not sure, but she was at the United Nations as part of the team. And I would really like to know what part was she playing, why was she there? And I think many citizens want to know as well. Why, if it's so, Les Khan was paid by Galaxy while he was the head of the CIU? We need the answers. With all of this thing that the Prime Minister spoke about at the square table today, about Galaxy, Mr. Martinez is a convicted fraudster. Well, all of this should have been checked out before you all allow him to buy his company to buy the OTI. So I'm not going to be sidetracked by all of these accusations. I need some facts. And Sylvester Anthony, Deb Bass, Farron Lawrence, all of these people that names came up in this situation. I need some clear response to this by the Prime Minister. So for me personally, I will give the system a chance to work. And again, I will thank Mr. Martinez and his team for filing this RICO lawsuit because we're getting some information, we're getting somewhere. So again, let's continue, pay attention and listen to my citizens. I want to take the evening to thank the good folks there at the Island Purified Water for keeping the DJ hydrated while he's in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. My good people, we're about to get to the top of the hour there of 8 o'clock. And I might be doing just a few minutes over time because I would like to say hello to a few folks out there. Sister Cora Bennett, good evening. How are you doing? Thanks for your usual support. Sister Beverly Marisha, Sister Gwyneth Marisha there, Hazel Claxton, and team. Also want to big up my son there, Brother Jeff Roy Jr. there in the LA area. How are you doing? How is your healing coming there? How is Sister Jazz? Hope all is well. Brother Cabo, the man Trevor Cabo Cornelius, hope all is well with you and your team. Gemini Nisbet, George Nisbet, Annette Morton, good evening. Manelta Robinson, the Manchester Watson, hope all is well with you guys. Joseph Brooks, welcome to the ride. Jaquit, Malta Jeffords, how are you doing? Kingsley Liberd, Celine Tobias, welcome to the ride. Janet Guel, Yashana Tafari, Melos Farms, how are you doing? Welcome, Marisol Penny. Joyce Warner, welcome to the ride. Lynn Leaf, welcome to the ride. Rhonda Brown, Suzette James, Joseph Brooks, Christopher, Evelyn, welcome to the ride. Sister Carmen Henry, how are you doing? Hope all is well. DJ Kwemi, Claxton, how are you doing? Brother Oakland Benter, good evening, how are you doing? Damien Jeffries, Cindy GQ, Marvin Hanley, Marvin Nigel, Leader, how are you doing? Hope all is well. Bertram Farrell, Janet, Sister Sandra, Huggins, how you doing? How is Sister Millie and my girl Yvonne? They are doing. Android Advisor, how you doing? Anthony Libert, good evening. How you doing? I hope all is well. Andrew Brown. Mark Doe. Ira Mark Mahan, how you doing, my brother? Welcome to the ride. Eustace Hendrickson, Eustace Warner. Magdalene, how you doing? Brother Sergeant, Patricia Hazel. Petterline Carey, how you doing? I had a whole bunch of folks online this evening. Margaret Taylor, Margaret Skeet, how you doing? Dan Griffin. Elva Basso, how you doing? The mighty Pat Ferdinand, how you doing? Brother, I hope all is well with you. Cecil Hobson, the man mighty Ranger, King Ranger, Steve Mills. Cheryl Jetel, how you doing? Sebastian Williams. The man Austin Williams, Dwayne Jones. Douglas Shaw, how you doing? The man Ian Queely, Ambassador Libert. Ambassador Queely, how you doing? Petterline Carey, hope all is well. The man Eustace Hendrickson, hope all is well with your brother Thaddeus Deposo. Randall Pringle Clark, how you doing? Juliet Smith, hope all is well with you guys. Too much things to mention this evening, so my good people, I am going to get into my closing for this evening. It's just about 3 minutes before the top of the hour. Sister Lynn, how are you doing? Good evening. I'm going to drop my ad here and just get out of here and look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday, same place, same time. It's always a pleasure to come and have the conversation. Tonight was one that we had to drop it like that. And enough respect to all. Good evening, Mr. Prime Minister and Terrence Joe and your team. Hope all is well. We got to do it right. We got to keep the flames burning. We got to hold your foot to the fire. Keep you on the straight and narrow.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Marishall's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishaw. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Marishaw, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishaw. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right. Log on. I'm getting several requests over the past weeks. Thousands of requests coming in for me to accept friends' requests. As I've said previously, I am not accepting any friends' requests on this podcast because I cannot keep up with the hackers trying to destroy my page. So if you want to catch the live on a weekly basis, just click the follow button and you'll be notified. Or you can go to YouTube and log on to DJ Marisha and check the link there and subscribe and become a member, and you get these live shows. I am not accepting any friend requests. My apologies. In the meantime and between time, I'm going to drop the unofficial national anthem of St. Kitts Nevis. This one is called Arise by the late great King Arrow. I know the music is sweet, Sister Hazel, but please, I'm asking you all to pay attention to the lyrics.
Would you stand up and see your country dying and never lend a helping hand? Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Administration Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically, hatred for a brother cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct all mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, every good thing must come to an end. God blessings on everyone. Until next Wednesday, 27th November.